Looking for the latest comic book to add to your collection? How about the last card for that Magic the Gathering Commander deck? Well, the comic book stores got you covered. Shop online at comicbookstore.tcgplayerpro.com or come in person at 30 North Main Street, Glassboro, New Jersey. Pizza people, welcome back. We actually have a really exciting video for you today. Hollywood Pizza here, and we're actually going to play against another streamer. That's right, we're going up against the DarkStream yet again in another Streamer Showdown. Now, we've already had one of these videos previously on the channel. You can definitely see that in the video here at the top. And there's going to be a link down below in the description as well to our first Streamer Showdown. We actually ended up playing Explorer, where it was Spirits versus Rakdos Midrange. Two of the more popular decks in that metagame, but today we're actually going to be doing a different format entirely in Standard. And we've actually chosen two decks that are pretty close to the meta, the top of the meta, excuse me, and I think that they definitely have tons of room to grow and are still solid choices overall on the ladder and maybe even for one of our future tournaments as well. So let's go over my deck list first here. So we're going to be playing Jund midrange on this side that you're going to see in this video at least, from our perspective, excuse me. So let's go over the deck here. We've got 2 Voltage Surge and a Cut Down in our 1-drop slot. The Cut Down, 1 black, destroy target creature, power, toughness, 5 or less, total power, toughness 5 or less, excuse me. Just a really solid removal spell, just one of. A lot of the format has kind of gotten away from the smaller creatures and is more mid-rangier, so I think just one is fine. Same thing with a couple Voltage Surges. Essentially, this list is kind of built around the Croaky's tournament winning list. I definitely made some changes. The first one was cutting a Voltage Surge, which is a lot weaker in the metagame right now. And on top of that, we actually don't really have many ways of activating it, considering that Rutstein and the Fable are really the only ways of getting this up to 4 damage. So I don't really think that this card's that crazy, but it is nice having 3 1-mana interactive spells to kind of help keep your game plan going, slow the opponent down, and stay on curve. In our trade-off slot, we've got 2 Infernal Grasps to start it off. We destroy a creature, you lose 2 life. For just a couple mana, it's an instant. Really good catch-all removal spell. We also have 2 Teachings of Kieran, colorless and green, and mills your 3. You get a 1/1. For the Chapter 1, Chapter 2, get a counter, and then flips over into a 1/1 whenever it attacks. Exile a creature card, make a 1/1, or exile non-creature and put a counter on a creature you control. It doesn't just have to be this card. This is actually a little bit more of in here for the synergy's sake. It mills you, so you're able to reanimate your cards later with the Cruelty of Gix. Gives you a little bit of value by getting a token, and then it flips into a creature, then it puts a counter. So there's definitely some value to this card, but I would definitely say it's one of the more like underwhelming cards in the deck. I think that you can definitely swap this out potentially for some better early game, but right now I think that Teachings of Kieran definitely just fills the role that it's supposed to. We have 4 Blood Tithe Harvesters, classic card that you've seen right now, black-red for 3/2 Vampire, comes in, makes a blood. You can sacrifice it to give a creature -X/-X, twice X, excuse me, where X is the number of blood tokens you have, so just a solid card. It's a 3/2, great on curve, can kill other cards. Not really much else to say, and the blood tokens only get better as the game progresses. 1 of Meathook main, just a catch-all sweeper. Also inevitability against a lot of different decks. 1 of I think is fine. I could definitely see maybe playing 2, mostly because there's some games where you really want to stabilize with this card, but overall I think just the 1 is great, considering that we already have a lot of removal spells with the Voltage Surge, Cut Down, Infernal Grasp, Soul Transfer, Elder Dragon War even, Jaya, Titan. I mean, we have tons of removal in the deck, so most of the time it's not really going to be too necessary to use this, but it is still nice to have that 1 of catch-all. We have 1 Graveyard Trespasser as well, an all-star in Standard right now. We have a couple more in the sideboard, but just 1 main deck is fine most of the time. We're really trying to get to our top end in this deck, but this card is just phenomenal. All-star, 3 mana, 3/3. It has Ward, where your opponent has to discard a card if it gets targeted. And then whenever it enters the battlefield, you can exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard if it's a creature. Each opponent loses 1, you gain 1, and then on the flip side, you can exile 2 cards and then gain, and opponent will lose a life for each one of those cards. That's a creature. We also have 4 Fable of the Mirror Breaker, a card that everyone should be familiar with at this point, 2 colorless and a red. First part of the saga, you get a 2/2 Goblin. When it attacks, you get a treasure. You can discard up to 2 cards, redraw that many for Chapter 2, and Chapter 3 it comes back Has a 2/2 that you can pay a colorless tap, make a copy of a non-legendary creature, then sack it at the beginning of the next end step. And our other card here in our 3-drop slot, we have Old Rutstein, which is a little bit of some value. When it enters the battlefield or at the beginning of your upkeep, you get to mill a card. If a land card is milled this way, create a treasure token. If a creature card is milled this way, you create a 1/1 green insect creature token instead. If a non-creature non-land card is milled this way, you create a blood token. So lots of value there. Overall, I didn't really get to see too much of this card. I'm only playing one in the main deck. There were 2 originally, but I just caught one, and I still think that you can almost cut this for something else. Not really too much of a crazy card. Just like slow incremental value. We have 2 Jaya, 2 colors, 2 red for Planeswalker for loyalty, +1. Make a 1/1 monk with prowess, -1, exile top 2 of your library. You can choose one to play that turn. -2, choose target creature and opponent controls. Whenever you attack, it deals damage equal number of attacking creatures to that creature, and an emblem with -8. Whenever you cast a random instant or sorcery spell, copy it twice. You can choose new targets. So overall, kind of just fills the role that like a 4-mana Chandra would, where it can either keep making some threats or essentially give you some card advantage later in the game. We also have 2 Elder Dragon War, 2 colorless, 2 red whenever it comes into play. If you choose, you can actually read ahead, so you can choose any part of this saga to automatically start with when you cast it, but the first part of it is it deals 2 damage to each creature and each opponent. You can discard any number of cards and draw that many cards, so you can just really get a good filter with that second part, and then you get a 4/4 Dragon with Flying, which is just phenomenal. We've got 3 Soul Windgrace, colorless, black, red, green for a 5/4. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you can put a land card from any graveyard onto the battlefield tapped in your control, and then it has a few different abilities. 1 green, discard a land, gain 3. Red colorless, discard a land, draw a card, and then 2 colorless. And a black, discard a land, gets indestructible until end of turn. So as long as you have a steady flow of lands, and even then, I mean, if you put some lands in the graveyard from an Elder Dragon, a Fable, or even just as Riveteer's Outlook continually coming back, like, you get a lot of value from Soul Windgrace. I think this card is just really good in the format right now. For our top end here, to start off, we got 5 drops with 2 Cruelty of Grix, 2 Cruelty of Gix, and 2 Workshop Warchief. The Cruelty of Gix, 3 colorless, 2 black. It's a saga. You can read ahead if you want, so you can choose any chapter, but first chapter, target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a creature or planeswalker card from it. The player discards that card. Second chapter, search your library for a card, lose 3. Goes in your hand. And then last chapter, you get to put a creature card from any graveyard onto the battlefield in your control. So mostly trying to get these Titan Industries down. If we're able to get maybe like a Graveyard Trespasser, Soul of Windgrace, Workshop Warchief, we're not really too worried about that. Or maybe even taking our opponent creatures. Can actually help you win the game as well. Just a really phenomenal card overall. Tons of value on this 5-mana saga. Got 2 Workshop Warchiefs, 3 colorless, 2 green for a 5/3 trample. When it comes in, you gain 3 life. Whenever it dies, you get a 4/4 green Rhino token, and you can blitz it in for 4 colorless, 2 green. Solid card overall. Very reminiscent of like Thragtusk from back in the day. You get to gain 3 life. If it dies, you get a token. And on top of that, you can blitz it in where you'll gain life, get the token, and draw a card. So just a phenomenal value card overall. And of course, Titan Industry. Most of what we're really trying to do in the deck is reanimate Titan Industry with Cruelty of Gix. Ramp it out potentially with a Fable, or maybe even like an Old Rutstein, anything like that. But Titan, 4 colorless, triple green, 7/7, reach trample. When it comes in, you get to choose 2 of these 4 abilities. Destroy an artifact or enchantment. Target player gains 5. Create a 4/4 Rhino. Or put a shield counter on a creature control. So overall, just tons of value here for 7 mana, or maybe even cheaper if you get it back from the Cruelty of Gix. For special lands, we have 1 Takenuma to get back a creature or planeswalker from our graveyard. Boseiju to deal with problematic non-basic lands, artifacts, or enchantments. We have 4 Zeatoras and 2 Riveteer's Overlook, which the Zeatoras is good for cycling later in the game. Early, gives you any color mana that you need for the deck. And the Overlook is really good because it gains you life and is really good value with the Soul Windgrace, where you can kind of start to get all the basics out of your deck and just thin your deck really good. For a sideboard here, we have an additional cut down in case we're playing against anything that's aggressive and quick. An Abrade for any artifacts, or the same thing, some quick aggressive decks, we're able to just use that first part of it to deal 3 damage to something, but a lot of the time we're going to use this to kill like some Bank Busters. You can pretty much say the same about Terra Sunder. Exiles, Bank Busters, Exiles, Fables, and then for 4 mana you can kick it and just exile any non-land permanent like Planeswalkers. 2 more Graveyard Trespassers to kind of help with the mid-range game and essentially give us some additional graveyard hate as well. 1 of Unleash Inferno to help give us some additional artifact enchantment removal on top of that. It usually kills most of the things in the format and opposing Titans as well for just 4 mana at instant speed. 3 Duresses for the control matchup, maybe even some mid-range matchups where you know that they have a lot more non-creature spells. 1 Unlicensed Hearse to kind of help with the Graveyard Trespassers for the Graveyard Hate. A Soul Transfer, besides the 1 Soul Transfer that we already have in the deck, which I actually think we kind of skipped over there, so I do apologize. Soul Transfer can help exile a creature or planeswalker, and it can also return a creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand, and if you control an enchantment and an artifact as you cast it, you actually get to do both. But we have an extra one here in the sideboard as a catch-all to essentially creatures, planeswalkers, or give us that value later in the game. Hitsugo consumes all, really, really good against like the Anvil type decks, some of those decks that just have tokens, or any decks that have permanence 1 or less. For the first part of that, you just get to destroy all of them. Second part, you exile all graveyards, which can hurt you, so you want to make sure you time this card correctly. And then the third chapter, it comes back as a 3/3 trample. Whenever it deals damage, it gets a counter. And then if it's dealt 10 or more damage to a player, they lose the game. 2 extra meat hooks to help with the board wipes and inevitability. Just a phenomenal card overall. Definitely one of the best cards in the format. And I like having 2 extra ones in case we end up going against aggressive decks, and even in the mid-range decks. You know, they're trying to win with creatures, so if you're just able to kill all their creatures and just end up with one big threat, then you're probably going to have a pretty high chance of winning that game. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the deck that we're actually going to be playing against, and that's going to be DarkStream's Grixis Despair here. So with this deck list, essentially it's a lot closer to more of like the Grixis mid-range decks, but it's actually playing Invoke Despair essentially as the over-the-top card finisher. So in this deck, we'd still have the cut downs, 1 Voltage Surge, and 1 Rona's Vertex. So 1 blue, return a creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand that you don't control. If it's kicked, you get to put it on the bottom instead. 2 Make Disappears to help counter anything. Blue colorless, counter a spell unless they pay 2, and then Casualty. Sack a creature, power 1 or more, and you get to copy it. So then you can counter something for 4 mana. Or excuse me, make them pay 4 mana. 2 Infernal Grass as the other catch-all card as well. Removal spell. 1 Underdog, which is just great value where you can play it early and then it's just a really solid recursive threat where it draws you cards and beats down at the same time. 4 Blood Tithe Harvesters, just like we talked about, just a phenomenal card in any black-red deck right now. 2 of these Reckoner Bankbusters, so 2 colorless, 4/4 vehicle. Whenever it comes in with 3 charge counters. You can pay 2, tap, remove a counter, draw a card. Then when it has no counters on it, you create a treasure token, make a 1/1 colorless pilot, create a token with whenever it can crew a vehicle with power 2 or greater. So just a really strong card overall in their deck. It really helps grind the game out and gives them continuous card advantage. Just a really hard card to deal with in game 1 specifically after the sideboard. We definitely had some answers for it, but I think that this is one of the best cards you could be playing in Standard. 4 Graveyard Trespassers, we already talked about how phenomenal this card is. Same with Fable the Mirrorbreaker, just 2 really great mid-ranging game-ending cards, and Graveyard Hate on top of that. It's a card filtering. 4 Corpse Appraisers, so it's Grixis, blue, black, red for a 3/3. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you can exile up to 1 target creature card from a graveyard. If it's put into exile this way, look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put 1 of them into your hand. So just really great. This card, what it really reminds me of is... I'm so sorry, Rogue Refiner. Mostly because it replaces itself. It's a pretty decent body. It digs deep enough that it gives you enough that you might be making like good decisions or having to make a decision about what you're getting. But overall, I actually think Corpse Appraiser is a lot better than I think most people are giving it credit for. 1 Shieldred to essentially help grind the game out. Just a win condition by itself. 2 black, 2 colors, 4/5 Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2. Couple Urtai Resurrected to essentially help give you a little bit of advantage whenever you need a card that's essentially going to stop a lot of different things from happening. So 2 colorless, blue, black, 3/2 flash. When it comes in, you get to choose 1, counter target spell, activate ability or triggered ability, and then destroy another target creature or planeswalker. And either one that you choose, its controller is going to draw a card. So that's definitely the downside of this card. I'm actually not really sure how powerful it is, in all honesty. Like, I think it's pretty good, but I have a lot of a hard time where the body that this is giving you isn't that strong, and them redrawing a card isn't always really stopping the card that you killed. So I think it's good because it really gives you different options, but overall I'm not sure if there's something better to be putting in the main deck. We also have 4 Invoke Despairs. Like I said, just a really, really phenomenal card. It helps go over the top. Quadruple black and a colorless sorcery. Target opponent sacrifices creature. If they can't, they lose 2 and you draw a card, then repeat it for an enchantment or planeswalker. So just a really, really, really powerful sorcery overall. For special lands, we have 1 of Takenuma, a Sokenzin, and lots of different tri-lands in our Fiend's Tower for Xander's Lounge to make sure that we play our Invoke Despairs on time, while also fixing our mana. For the sideboard, we have an additional Voltage Surge, 3 Disdainful Strokes to help counter anything that's mana value 4 or greater, couple Negates to help against anything that's a non-creature spell in the control or mid-range matchups, an extra Shieldred to give you that additional insurance to win the game, 1 of Infernal Grasp as a catch-all removal spell, 1 of a Braid against Reckoner Bankbusters or any problematic artifacts, and also against any type of aggressive mid-range strategy with that 3 damage. The additional Bankbuster as well on the sideboard. 1 Unlicensed Hearth, 2 additional, 2 Soul Transfers. So we're playing ours in our main deck, but they have both of theirs in the sideboard. Just a really great card right now. And 2 Obnixilis, which are phenomenal against any type of control matchup, or when you really, really want to grind the game out with a Planeswalker. Overall, I actually think Grixis is definitely one of the best decks as well in the format. In my opinion, it's definitely running for the best deck because a lot of their cards end up being like 2 or 3 for 1, so you just get tons of value out of almost every single card in the deck. But yeah, I definitely recommend both of these decks for ladder climbing or for any tournament that we have in the future that has to do with Standard. But we're going to go ahead and jump into some games. Starting off the showdown here with the DARKStream. Jund versus Grixis is going to be potentially a grindy match here, as both of our decks do play the mid-range game plan. And we're going to be on the draw. This hand, fortunately we have the Forest in our hand, so I think that we do have to mulligan. We're not able to play any of our spells on time here. This is a lot better. We could put back the Soul of Windgrace, which I think is fine. Like right now we're not able to cast it. So I think that's like going to be the choice here. And going to start off with the tap land. Alright, so we do end up drawing the Forest, but at the same time we have 2 other copies of Soul Windgrace in our deck, so I really don't just mind putting it on the bottom. Let's go and start off with a Blood Tithe Harvester here. Could have a cut down or Voltage Surge. Okay, has a cut down. Do get the Blood Token, which is nice. Okay, Blood Tithe Harvester of their own. And we have another one. So I think it's okay to just get this down. And pass turn back. Still have Cruelty. We may want to end up playing the Cruelty here in a couple turns. I definitely think we're going to want to discard one of these lands. I'm not sure though yet. Figured that was going to be the play. And they could have a Corpse Appraiser here. Okay, going to crack the blood, looking for a land. And they do hit it. And we just hit a Zeatoras. So I actually think I'm okay. Kind of almost want to play the Forest or the Zeatoras. I think we just play the Zeatoras and pass the turn back, holding up the Infernal Grasp and cycling away the Sulphurous Springs. Mostly because it deals us damage. I'd rather have the Forest too, gets us closer to hard casting a Titan. So let's go ahead and crack one of these blood tokens, get rid of this land. And we hit a Jaya, which is pretty good. Now we do know that they have Invoke Despair, so there's a chance that they have it in their hand considering they're at 4 mana looking for their 5th land here. So if we play the Jaya down tick, or excuse me, up tick, then there's a chance that we lose both of our cards. But I think we just... well, maybe we still play it. Could also go look for a card. Put it into our hand. Right now there's no good targets really in the graveyard to get back. And I'm not sure if they're having a connection issue or if they're thinking about a play here. Could end up being a connection issue. Okay. Untap, we draw a Haunted Ridge. I still think Jaya is fine. There's a chance they could also counter it. Okay, that's fine. They have the Urtai. This is only a creature, right? Yep. So we draw a land. So we're going to cycle away the Proving Ground, maybe. Okay, now they have the Corpse Appraiser. So we're going to exile the Blood Tithe Harvester in our graveyard. Get a land. Let's go ahead. Yeah, I'm just going to let that happen. Crack the Blood Token. Let's discard the Proving Ground. Okay, we just hit a Deathcap Glade anyways, and we draw a Soul of Windgrace, which I like a lot here. I think that we play the Deathclap, and let's play the Soul Windgrace. We can't protect it, but we can still redraw a card if need be. We also get a land into play on our side. And they're just going to kill it, that's fine. And let's see, what do we have? We have a Proving Ground. Yeah, I think I'd rather just take the Proving Ground either way, just because it's going to come into play tapped. We can get back the Soul of Windgrace if we really want to next turn, but I don't really think that's the play. Take 6. I think we kill this. Try to at least take the damage. If they have their one of Shieldred, then obviously we're in some trouble. Okay, just going to invoke. So we're going to go down quite a bit of damage here. Down to 3, so we can Cruelty, but it's not necessarily going to do us all that good. Let's see. Could get back Soul Windgrace, which is fine. It gains us some life. Could also get back the Corpse Appraiser to maybe redraw, but I think I just like getting the Soul of Windgrace here. Let's get back the Swamp. And pass a turn. We can give this Indestructible. It does get tapped. Definitely in some trouble. They got quite a bit of cards. And they just have another Invoke. So I actually think... Let's see, we sack this and then lose to the Urtai. So yeah, we have to gain 3 life here. So we would go down to 2. Yep, gonna go down to 2 here. And yep, just drawing a land. So I drew quite a good amount of lands. Mostly just lost to being burned out by the Invokes. I think we want to bring in these 3 Duress. Let's see here. Maybe the Unleash Infernos. We mostly want to just bring in most of our removal, I think, as well. Teaching is not really that impressive here. I don't really like the Voltage Surge either. I think I like the other Graveyard Trespassers. Inferno's pretty good. Giant's just okay, mostly because we could just potentially be sacrificing some cards anyways. Cut Down is okay as a one of. Do we want the Hearse? Maybe we do over the Rutstein. And maybe even the Soul Transfer over the Cut Down or the other Meat Hook Massacre. I kind of like that as well. Let's bring in the other Meat Hook, another Soul Transfer. Terra Sunder's another option as well because it's good early and good later. I kind of almost like it better than the Cut Down. I could be wrong though. I've only played just a few games with this deck so far, so let's go ahead and be on the play. Okay, we do have to take a mulligan here though. I think we can keep this 6 and put one of these Graveyard Trespassers back. So starting on turn 3, we're really hoping to draw a land as well. Okay, we do hit it though, so that's good. Let's pass it back. Gonna start off with the Fable here. And they could have a counterspell. They do not. It goes right through. Potentially cut down this time. Okay, Runner's Vortex, just gonna bounce the token. And they play a tap land. Yeah, I don't mind just trying to draw some cards we need. Unfortunately, we did not hit another land off of that, though, so definitely troublesome. We have one Fable down, though, to potentially get us some redraws here. So we'll see. You know, a lot of the problem, too, is we don't really want to put the Titan into the graveyard because they have so much graveyard removal. So definitely taking a bit of a risk there. Could have been wrong. Not sure. Can still cast most of the cards in our hand. Obviously missing out on that Duress. Plus being able to cast like a 3-drop was definitely troublesome. But still have Duress next turn. And hoping to redraw into something good with these Fables. Alright, let's see what they got here. Still going to the tank. And yep, gonna go to time. I think they're just mostly debating what they're gonna do here. Yep, gonna pass. Do we want to discard some cards? It's awkward. I don't think I do. Let's try to attack with the token. Alright, we do get to attack, make a treasure. Let's Duress. And then potentially cast this Trespasser. So they do have the Invoke. I think we just take that. Play the Proving Ground. Could play a Trespasser. I think that's fine. They can't stroke the Trespasser, and just get rid of this. Potentially be able to copy, less than likely I guess we copy the Trespasser, but we're going to be able to make some mana off the Goblin too, which is nice. Oh wow, they're actually going after the Trespasser. Okay, that's fine. Still pretty happy about that, considering that we can just copy the Goblin and then try to get to this Titan. Okay, gonna play the Corpse Appraiser, so they have to have a 1-drop potentially that they're looking to cast with their mana. Or just looking for another Vortex. Okay, so we can copy a Goblin. Yeah, I think we just exile this. We'll copy the Goblin. Make some mana. Get closer to a Titan. And we also just have 2 reflections on the battlefield, so feels alright. Okay, invoke. So we sacrifice a Goblin, and then we start to sacrifice the other one, so that's fine. Looking to draw a land here. Okay, we do. And then now we can cast a Titan. Make a 4/4, put a shield counter on the reflection, I think. Nah, Titan's just better. Let's just attack. If they have another invoke, then we sacrifice. This is the creature, this is the enchantment. And we can punch in with the Titan. Okay, so we're able to take down game 2 there. Let's go ahead and see how our game 3 goes. Let's see here. Do we want to cut the Elder Dragon War? I think that we do, and we'll bring in the Abrade. I think that we want to bring in the Abrade regardless. Maybe the another Terra Sunder. But it feels like it could also be kind of dead there. And let's see here. So I think we cut this and then just bring in the other Terra Sunder, or just cut. I just want all my big stuff, and I also just want to have as much removal as possible. Yeah, I just feel like that's just kind of weak. Do we just still bring in the other Terra Sunder, though? Maybe over the Unleash the Inferno? No, I think it's fine. I think that's fine. Let's go ahead and see how this next game goes for us. Alright, so we got the game 3. Their deck is, I think, better in the grinding department than our deck is, so we're mostly just trying to get, you know, like a big haymaker down. I think they're still just sideboarding. And let's see. So we know they probably brought in the Strokes. We saw a Bankbuster there. Maybe they brought in the Obnix list to stay maybe a little bit lower on the ground. I think this hand's great. Can definitely keep this. And we can start off with a Duress if we really wanted to, which gives us a good look at what's going on, and then maybe a turn 2 Infernal Grasp. So it just looks like they have counter spells here. They're gonna use a Make Disappear. I think we just take one of these. And we play Springs and then kill the Trespasser after they play it. And then we can follow it up with our Fable. We'll get rid of the Springs. It's fine. We can find other red mana. Yep. Just like the Haunted Ridge. Let's get the Fable down. And potentially try to generate some mana to hit some of our other spells. Soul Transfer is really good here because we can potentially get both sides of it. And I actually think we're okay. I don't think that we need another draw. I guess we can get rid of the Proving Ground. I'm kind of like not a fan of it though. That's fine. Just draw Blood Tithe. Alright, let's attack for 2 potentially. If they have a Grasp, but that's fine. Okay. And they still have the mana for the make disappear, so I think we have to play the Blood Tithe Harvester first. So that way we don't just get blown out by the counterspell. They have 3 cards left. We still have a Soul Transfer, which is really nice. Our Fable is going to flip over, which we also like as well. Okay, so we just hit another Blood Tithe Harvester. I think we still just come in for 3 here. Okay, down to 15. Let's play the Blood Tithe because we know about the make disappears still. We'll get a blood token. Let's pass it back. They have Invoke. We sacrifice the reflection for the creature. So that way we don't get 2 for 1. The last time we had to sacrifice the token and the reflection to not lose both reflections, pretty much. So we have them down to 15. We have a Graveyard Trespasser that can potentially grind the game down a little bit more. And on top of that, if this reflection stays active, then we're going to be able to copy these Blood Tithe Harvesters. Okay, Graveyard Trespasser. And they still have the mana open. Yep, just going to get rid of that. So we draw a land. I think we just copy a Blood Tithe Harvester. Target the Graveyard Glutton. Discarding a land. Attack for 6. And we just pass the turn back. No reason to play into the counterspell still. We have Trespasser next turn that deals a couple points of damage, which is good. Let's see, 1 creature, so just 1 creature, so yeah, it'd only be 1 either way right now. It's still fine though. Maybe we may just want to try to like run it out just to use their mana. I don't think that that's right either though. Yep, we want to keep all the cards in our hand. Let's go ahead and make a copy of the Harvester. So they have a stop now. It means that they potentially just have a removal spell here. And they're going to bounce it. That's fine. And we play Graveyard Trespasser. Getting rid of the Glutton and the Infernal Grasp. Attack for 3. And I think we just hold up this Boseiju in case we need to discard it for another Trespasser, or there could have also been a world where maybe we use it for Fable the Mirror Breaker, but we were able to take down the first match there. Second match of the Streamer Showdown. Like I stated previously, definitely some grindy games here. Lots of value being played on both sides. Going to be on the play. I think this is a hand we can definitely keep. Start off with the Proving Ground into a Swamp. The Rockfall Veil into the Fable on turn 3. And an Infernal Grasp just in case to kind of kill some things in between as well. Seeing as how we would get to kill their 2-drop and then untap with a Fable, which would be pretty nice. I actually really like this Voltage Surge instead of the Grass, just because it can kill like a Blood Tithe Harvester, anything like that. Okay, yep, Blood Tithe. So yeah, this Voltage Surge is going to be a lot better. Considering that we'd rather keep the Infernal Grass as a better removal spell as the game progresses. So let's go and start off with this Fable here. Potentially generate some mana, and then we can play this Jaya, which will be great. Okay, Trespasser is really good, though. We have to deal with that, I think, right away. Before it starts to take over the game, I actually think that our hand is fine. So let's target this. Discarding a land. Attack, make the treasure. And we'll pass a turn back. We have a Fable that potentially is going to flip this turn. All right, so we're drawing some lands too, which I like quite a lot. So let's come in for some damage. Got a lot of cards. And land in the graveyard. Yeah, I actually kind of just like playing the Solo Wind Grace and trying to get a land back into play. Okay, Urtai's going to counter it. That's fine. We get a redraw. A land. That's fine. We still have Jaya and another Fable here. It looks like they may end up just trying to kill our Fable now, maybe with a cut down. Okay, invoke Despair. So yeah, now we actually just sacrifice the Reflection, even though it draws them an extra card. Okay, we have Fable plus Jaya. So let's see here. Creature damage equal number of attacking creatures you control. So yeah, I'm just going to come in for damage here. That's fine with the trade. We can play the Rockfall Veil. Jaya. We'll uptick. Play a Reflection. Obviously trying to dodge and invoke Despair here because essentially we get rid of all three of our main permanents. So this is definitely one of those turns where the invoke's going to be huge here, if they have it. Five cards in hand for Darkstream here. And they have an Urtai, so I think they're just going to destroy the Jaya. Yep. Definitely a really good card. It's just generating tons of card advantage. And we end up drawing a land that we're just going to pitch to the Fable here, I believe. With the Goblin attack, we actually end up having enough mana for the Titan. 5, 6, 7. So I'd almost want to get rid of both of these, which is a little bit awkward. Like, this thins our deck out. And like I said, we still have Titan mana no matter what. So I think it's okay. We just end up hitting the lands anyways. They have 2 mana open. I think we just attack here. Yep, gonna make the trade, that's fine. We could play Titan, but we know that they have counter spells in their deck, so it's more than likely they have a Make Disappear here. I think we just had to take a turn off and gain a life, which is a bit awkward, but it is what it is. It also thins the deck out, making sure that we don't hit a land later that we don't need. We already have triple green. And let's pass the turn back. Still don't think I want to take a chance there, even if they end up keeping 2 mana open for most of the game here. We definitely can plan our turns out with the Fable here a little bit better. We also could end up to a point where maybe the Make Disappear isn't as impactful, considering we'd be able to maybe pay for it. Okay, Bank Buster. So their last card could be a counter spell. They have 2 cards left that we know about, excuse me. Six, 7. So we can play the land. They can sacrifice their Goblin, counterspell the Titan. Could also just have a removal spell. Or maybe even just a Bank Buster activation. I think we're going to go for it, mostly because we don't have anything else going on. And if they have the counter, they have the counter. They have to sacrifice the Goblin for it. Yep, they do have the Make Disappear, sacrificing the Goblin. Not going to pay for it. So, yep. They still had the counter spell. I still think it's fine to just go for it, though. in all honesty, just because we just don't really want to waste too much time here. And there's also a chance that we could get a Cruelty of Gix, which would be pretty nice here. They're going to maybe get their Fable, though. They have one card left, 2 cards with the Reckoner Bankbuster. We draw a Fable. So let's actually copy... Let's see, if we copy this, play the Fable, we get to attack, but then... Either way, we don't really get anything out of it because we can't attack with both. Can make a copy of the Goblin. Just to get us a treasure. I don't mind that either. They'd crew, block it. I think that's fine. I still want to get some use out of this reflection here. They have a Ruble Swall for the token. I feel pretty good too. Yep, just going to swing. And more than likely that they just block with the Bankbuster. Yep, that's fine. So as long as our Fable stays out, we actually get a redraw here. They're going to draw off the Bankbuster. Maybe cracking the blood token. Probably less likely that they do, though. Yep, there's a cut down. So I don't think that they had that until now, potentially. Yep, they're going to hit their reflection. And let's see if we can get some value here in our turn. So we hit 2 lands anyways, which is great because we get to redraw 2 cards. Okay, so really, really good cards here. I'm going to try to do this. Let's see, do we just attack? Yeah, attack, make the treasure. Looks like they're just going to grasp that. So they have 1 card left. Let's think about this here. So 5, we can still pay for that. Yeah, that's fine. I think we just Gix here. We can still pay for it even if they sacrifice one of their creatures. And I think that we're just going to get the Titan back. I don't really think we're messing around here by doing the second ability. The second ability is pretty good, don't get me wrong, even at this point in the game. But, yeah, I think we're going to do Titan here. Destroy the... Let's see. They get a card off Bankbuster no matter what. Reflection makes copies of Blood Tithe. Yeah, just going to blow this up here. Yep, going to draw. They hit like a Urtai. They actually don't have the mana though. Crack the blood token. Okay, going to get to blow that up. Can also just play this and make a 4/4. They have 2 mana though. Yeah, I actually don't mind making the 4/4 here. Probably should have just done all this first, but you could definitely see why I played a certain way there. Yep, and they still had the counterspell. So glad we played the Gix first. Fortunately, we're not going to get a 4/4 Flying Dragon, but we do got a pretty decent board state here. Okay, Graveyard Trespasser coming down. So definitely got a bit fortunate that the Trespasser came down later. They still have a draw off the Bankbuster, and they have another Bankbuster, so they're going to have all their mana spent for a turn here. And we get to flip that. And yep, coming in with both of these. No reason not to. It can crew the Bank Busters and make blocks, but we do have this Boseiju. So that's definitely going to come in clutch here. Yep, going to crew. And then probably double block the Titan. And yeah, we just had the Boseiju. So they are going to get a token that they'll get to use here to crew the other Bank Buster. They'll still get a redraw, treasure. Definitely getting a good amount of cards either way. We are going to get to kill the Blood Tithe Harvester and deal some damage to Darkstream here. So they have to deal with two threats. We have the Reflection and the Titan Industry. Okay, Corpse Appraiser does dig them deep. If they play Invoke, we just sacrifice the Reflection and keep most of our battlefield here. Okay, another Corpse Appraiser. So they have three mana left. One card in their hand right now. And they do have a cut down for the Reflection. And they can still activate the Bank Buster and crew it as well. They may just end up attacking with the Graveyard Glutton. I don't think that's a bad attack. It would gain them some life. Let's see. We actually don't have any creatures left in the graveyard. They have Urtai and a Trespasser. Could block with the token to save us some life. I think we do. A lot of good draws in our deck here. Elder Dragon Wars, pretty good. It gives us a flyer. Could also shoot down the token. Puts our opponent down to 6. They'd have to crew this. And then everything would take 2 damage and then we swing out. Is that an option? Let's see. Deal 2 damage to everything. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I actually... It's weird, but I actually don't mind just playing this for the 2 damage here. It puts them down to 6. And then they end up having to make some awkward blocks. Yep, we're going to attack here. Okay, so yep, still make some trades. Still pretty much wipe the board here. They do get a redraw off the Bank Buster. So we get them down to 2, but they can exile our Titan. So maybe wasn't the best attack. Might have wanted to just stay back. Okay, yeah, they just hit another graveyard. So yeah, that's really good for them to go up to 4. We're going to have a flyer eventually. So yep, we discard that. Draw Windgrace here, which isn't bad. We actually have Riveteer's Outlook that we'll play to gain some life. We don't have another land, but that's fine. I'd rather just gain the life. We don't have any way of making the Solar Windgrace unblockable or indestructible. They don't have a good attack. We get a 4/4 dragon. And we play a Blood Tithe Harvester. No attacks. There is a creature in the graveyard. Just one, it looks like. So they could attack with the Gluttons. We can both still block with the Soul of Windgrace. And also block with the Blood Tithe Harvester. They have an Invoke Despair. We're definitely in some trouble. We'd have to sacrifice the Harvester. And then we'd go down to 3. We'd have to block both of these. So I got 2 cards in hand. Let's see what they end up trying to kill here. Okay, they just have Arona's Vortex, so that goes into the deck. They have 1 card left. We have a blood token we can use to redraw. Yep. That makes sense as well, so we don't get that land back. Yep, just going to take the 4, go down to 2. If they have a burn spell, we lose. We hit a Voltage Surge. I don't think that's going to do it. So let's redraw. Proving Ground, cycled into a land. That was a really grindy game there. Might have made the mistake where we attacked, but I still like getting rid of most of the battlefield. That second Graveyard Trespasser, I think, is definitely what did us in. They also just had, like, the Bank Busters going, so they were able to get more value. I think we want the Abrades again. One of these, I believe, is what we did. So we just cut all these. Cut down. Don't need the Teachings. Don't need the Rutstein. And let's see. Do we just want one of the Elder Dragon Wars? Nah, the other Soul Transfer. I think this is what we did last time. Yeah, we could have also just made the 4/4 dragon earlier instead of dealing the 2 damage as well. That way we wouldn't have maybe gotten so greedy with the attack. I think that might have been the better play. It's always really hard to figure out what to do with those sagas, especially because, like, you're given a lot of those options up front. Well, let's go and see how we do this match. We're gonna be on game 2 here. Gonna be on the play. This hand is fine. Really need to hit our 3rd land. We're on the play. It's definitely a bit risky. And it has a lot of big cards in it. I think I'm still going to keep it, though. Let's start off with the Haunted Ridge. Give ourselves a turn with the Duress. Maybe they'll draw something extra that we get another look at. I think I like that rather than just not really having any plays anyways on turn 2. Okay, we have a Hearse, which is pretty good. Let's go ahead and start off with this Duress here. So we have Souls Transfer. Yep, gonna get rid of the Fable here. So Darkstream does have lots of removal. We do not hit our 3rd land, though, unfortunately. But we do have our Hearse down. And yep, gonna start off with the Fable. And I think we can just exile a card, it's fine. We don't hit our 3rd land, though, so we have to pass back. So definitely a bit unfortunate. If we mulliganed, I think we would have still had a hard time against what their hand is shaping up to be like. Just because they had some early interaction spells. So yeah, they're going to hit us for 2, get a lot of value here. They may just end up playing the Corpse Appraisers just to get some 3/3s down. Yep. And let's just exile our duress. Make the Hearse a 2/2. Okay, we hit a land, but it does come into play tapped. So just going to pass it back here. Definitely a bit behind. They get to flip over the Fable now. And really just looking for some lands and Meehook. It's probably our best bet right now. And they just hit an Invoke Despair here. So, yep, going to go down to 7. They get to refill their hand. And they do play Reckoner Bankbuster. So yeah, just going to make this a 3/3. That's fine. We hit our 4th land. Is there anything we could really do? We can kill this, but then I think we're just too behind. Play the Fable. Yeah, we're just too behind. They also have the Reckoner Bankbuster, which is just going to come in for 4, so definitely a bit unfortunate in that second game. We just weren't able to hit our 3rd land. I don't think that it was a hand like we should have really mulliganed. Maybe like a 5 and a 7 drop might have just been a bit too greedy, but if we play the Fable and let's say the token was to survive, we can attack and start to get some of our bigger threats down early. So let's see how our next match goes. Pizza people, are you enjoying the content? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit that bell icon as well. That way, anytime any of our new content comes out, you're able to see it right away. Hey, leave a comment down below as well. Tell us what you're going to play in the next event, or tell us what you're enjoying about the video. Don't forget, check out the description too. We've got tons of great content down below. And on top of that, we're going to have our tournament schedule too. So get in on it. Hope to see you. Match 3 in the Streamer Showdown here. Gonna play some Jund versus Grixis for the finale. And we're gonna be on the play here. I definitely think this is a hand we can keep. Gonna start off with, I believe, a Haunted Ridge here. Unfortunately, we're not able to get the Blood Tithe Harvester on time unless we draw another type of land, but that's okay. So gonna try to have a Fable here on time. Okay, looks like they had a little bit of a slow start as well, so let's go and start off with this Fable. Probably get some redraws, and if the token survives, we're going to get to ramp a little bit, and potentially just hold up this Soul of Windgrace. And they do hit a Graveyard Trespasser. So I actually think we'll still discard both of these lands, get a redraw here, can attack, but I don't really think that accomplishes much. Let's get the Soul Windgrace down, ramp ourselves a little bit with the Riveteer's Outlook, gain a life. Go get a red source here. Pass a turn back, so potentially going to get this Fable flipped here pretty early. Okay, they have a Blood Tithe Harvester. And another Blood Tithe Harvester, so we're definitely going to be attacking with the Soul of Windgrace. We have a Titan of Industry as well. So yeah, definitely attacking Soul of Windgrace here. Get back the Outlook, gain a life, thin the deck down a little bit. Get a black mana. And let's see how they block. Just going to take the 5, and we'll play a Fable. And another Blood Tithe Harvester. And let's end the turn. We could play Zeatoras as a land. Yeah, that's fine. Let's make sure that we can cast a Titan. Put a lot more pressure on him for the next turn. Yep, gonna kill the Soul Windgrace. And the Reflection. We still have another Reflection queued up. Could have kept the land to discard to the Fable, but I still like this a lot more. I don't see them having a good attack here, mostly because we just trade with the Blood Tithe Harvester. Okay, they just have an underdog. Okay. We hit a graveyard trespasser. I actually like all of our cards here. So we can kill the underdog, or we attack with both of the goblins, make some mana. I don't really like any of those plays. We can also blow up a blood token, which I think is also okay. Four and a shield counter. Yeah, I definitely think that's the way. Put a shield counter on the trample creature. And pass turn back. We still have another Fable and a Graveyard Trespasser here. Okay, they have their own Fable. Crack of Blood. Still have a stop, but it's potentially just the blood. Could be a cut down. It would kill the Blood Tithe Harvester right now. Or maybe they're saving it for the Fable. We would like to get a favorable attack with the Titan here. We're in a pretty good spot. Or we just want to start to generate some value by making a lot of Titans with the Fables. I think either way we just play both of these cards right now. Okay, so we hit that. That's going to come back into play. Let's play a Graveyard Trespasser. Eating a Blood Tithe Harvester and a Fable. Get a token. And we could kill their Tenacious Underdog, so then they have to pay life to get it back. I think we still just say go. If we really need to crack this blood, we will. But right now our board's looking pretty good. We have another Fable that's going to flip over eventually. Our Titan's protected. So I think so long as we kind of try to go for this route, I think we should be fine. Obviously, they can kill our cards, but right now they're digging as well. So let's see what they got here. Okay, going to cycle the Xander's Lounge. And looks like they did draw the removal, looks like, potentially. Okay, nope. Alright, yeah, they just couldn't kill the reflection. We had the Titan here. So I think our game plan kind of usually just remains about the same. We just get rid of some of these interactive spells that don't really do much. We bring in our other bigger spells. Cut the Jayas. Cut the Dragon Wars. Rutstein. And do we want the Terra Sunder? Oh yeah, we want Hearst as well. Hearst's pretty good. Got a Soul of Windgrace. I mean, I kind of think I want the Terra Sunder. It's a really good card. We're on the draw. No, I think this is fine. If anything, I mean, do we... Like, I think I still want all three Meehooks, just because the Meehook presents inevitability. Like, the fact that we're able to just kill all their cards and they don't have a board wipe either is really good. They're mostly relying on most of their interactive spells and then, like, the Invoke to really get there. Which is still obviously solid here, as we've seen. I just think that I like having the Meehooks because I know that if the game goes longer, we have that inevitability. Obviously, them having Bankbuster is a bit annoying, which is why I feel like I want the other Terra Sunder. Potentially over a War Chief or maybe like a Cruelty Gix. But I really like the fact that Cruelty gives us a lot of late game. Lots of value. And we're going to be on the draw this time. And I definitely think this is a hand we can keep. We have a 2-drop into a 3-drop into Potentially casting this Titan eventually, especially if we're able to hit like a Fable or anything like that in between. And the Riveteer's Outlook is obviously great if we hit like a Soul of Windgrace. Yeah, I think we definitely keep this. This gives us our green mana. Eventually, I think that we're still going to start off with this Haunted Ridge into a Mountain for the Blood Tithe, Springs for the Trespasser. We did hit the Soul of Windgrace, and we hit a Takenuma as well. So yeah, Blood Tithe Harvester. So as you can already see, like I was talking about earlier, I think we almost want the other Terra Sunder. May even want to just cut this Soul of Windgrace for it, just because we know that we have some form of inevitability on our end because of the Taina industry. So we're going to be able to come in for 3, unless they have a cut down, which they might, or they don't have the mana. So yeah, just Voltage Surge is fine here. And we'll play Rockfall Veil into Graveyard Trespasser. And I think I don't mind dealing that extra point of damage right now. If they get their Graveyard Trespasser, they're just going to do that instead, so I'd rather be the first one to do it here. Okay, Fable the Mirror Breaker seems pretty good. They'll get some card selection here. We'll go ahead and attack for 3. And I don't see them blocking. I would rather Duress because we want to make sure that we can get some of their good cards out of their hand, like this Invoke Despair. And we'll actually gain a life off the Riveteer's Outlook. Go get a Swamp here. Or we can also go get the Forest because we want to be able to cast the Titan eventually. But we know that we're going to discard one of these cards anyways to the Blood token. So I think we just say go here. We still have some pretty good threats in our hand. They do have an Urtai though. Let's see if they get rid of our Graveyard Trespasser here. Yep, they're going to get to make a treasure token. We'll go down to 20. And I still get a feeling that they might want to do it. They could have just Urtide main phase. Okay, yep, going to do Trespasser instead. Yeah, they could have just like Urtide main phase, but I think I like the play that they're making a lot better too because they're able to double spell with the card that we didn't know about. So it's going to be really rough if we draw a Gix because we didn't put the Titan in the graveyard. But I don't just want to throw the Titan down because they have a Trespasser themselves. Okay, so I think that we play Soul of Windgrace here. Get back. Let's see. Yep. Just got to get back the Spring. We'll play a Spring, and we'll just pass the turn back. So they are going to get their Fable down. And they have an Urtai to kill this Soul of Windgrace. We do get a redraw. Unfortunately, maybe not getting that Forest could end up being our demise here. Like I said earlier, trying to get closer to actually casting this Titan Industry, but right now we are actually 2 green mana away from being able to do it. Another option as well would have been Blood Tithe, but then essentially we're losing our Blood Tithe to theirs, so we're not going to get to interact with the Reflection like we would normally. And they're actually going to pass. We hit a Meathook Massacre, which is definitely interesting. So if we try to Meathook, they just wipe the board. I think that we attack with the Soul of Windgrace here. And let's see what Darkstream does about this. We can give it Indestructible. So yeah, we can give it Indestructible, and then if they use the Urtai, we just draw a card. I think that's fine. Yep. Okay, they're just going to use the Ronas. That's fine. So that actually taps them out. We play this. They can just kill it for free. I think we still just pass. hoping that they Urtai the Glutton to try to just come in for more damage. And then we can use our meat hook to wipe the board. Obviously can't do it because of this card. Probably going to Reflection. Okay, yep. On the Blood Tithe Harvester, that's fine. Okay, so they still have to discard a card. They attack, they can still cast Urtai unless they use the mana. So maybe we still wanted to play the Blood Tithe Harvester. Could have been a mistake there. They do have mana for the Urtai now, unless they do something else, which they're not going to. Don't really have a reason to. So even if we try to do this now, it just gets countered. We can play this, and then it dies. And we essentially die to the Bankbuster being in play, so a bit rough there. If we had played the Blood Tithe Harvester the turn earlier, maybe we would have had a better chance. I think I do want to bring in this other Terra Sunder. And Solar Windgrace is fine, but it's not like really that crazy for us right now. I think I just like what we have besides that. Like, we have plenty of ways to win. I think stopping their attack and stopping what they're doing is a lot better. So match 3, game 3. Let's go ahead and see how this game goes for us here. Going to be on the play. And a little bit of a weaker hand, but I actually think we'll keep it. We got plenty of mana to cast our spells. Nothing wrong with that. Let's go ahead and start off with a Zeotor's Proving Ground into this Riveteer's Outlook. And yep, just going to thin the deck out a little bit. And hit this Forest. Yeah, I think hitting the Forest is fine. And make sure that we can hit Titan with the triple green already. Okay, they just play Bankbuster, and we have Fable. So we have a little bit of offense. Opponent has a little bit of offense. They might just redraw off the Bankbuster, which I'd be pretty fine with, obviously. We get some more tempo down on our side, hold up a removal spell, then flip the Fable over on the following turn. I think next turn there's a world where we get rid of both of these swamps. Especially depending on what we draw as well. If we had a Titan, there's a chance maybe we want to keep most of our lands, but yeah, I definitely think that we just get rid of these, and we're mostly hoping to hit. We would love to draw a Titan, discard both of the discard the Titan and the land, and then hit a Gix. I think they're thinking about drawing off the Bankbuster here. Okay, yep. Oh no, they did not hit a land. So I actually think we're going to discard both of our lands, get a redraw, so we had 2 Duress. Let's attack here. And we can Duress to maybe try to stop a play from the next turn, but I think the War Chief's just better. I think we just have to kill them. I don't think we can mess around right now. I think we just have to kill them. Yep, they still hit a land. So they could end up playing a Fable, which is a card that I was a little bit worried about if they did hit their 3rd land. Okay, they just hit a Blood Tithe Harvester. They take some damage for it. This is going to flip over. And we just kill this now. Looks like they have a cut down for the Goblin token. Okay. Yep, so we kill that. Attack for 5. And I think we just Duress and Duress. So we can get rid of Infernal Grasp. And the cut down. So that way they have to spend more mana. If they want to kill the Reflection, they have to spend. Yeah, I'd rather get rid of the cut down, I think. It's a little bit awkward, but if they have a land and just Shieldred, then we just get to make multiple War Chiefs here. If they kill the War Chief, then we get a 4/4. Okay, so they just exile it. That's fine. Alright, we have a duress here. So we're able to get rid of that Infernal Grasp. Let's play Graveyard Trespasser. Exiling their Blood Tithe Harvester. Copy a Trespasser. Exiling the other Blood Tithe Harvester. Attacking for 3 here. And exiling one of these cards. Alright, we lose the token. So if they hit a land, they probably play the Shieldred. If not, then they're just going to play the Graveyard Trespasser. Okay. And I'm not really sure what we're looking for here. We hit another Fable. So let's Fable. We'll pass a turn back. Make a copy of the Graveyard Trespasser at the end step. Definitely trying to kill them as fast as we can here. They crack a blood token, getting rid of Invoke Despair. Still not hitting a land. And we'll try to copy the Graveyard Trespasser here. If they have a removal spell, then we'll end up losing it, or the Fable. Okay. And, yep, just going to get rid of the Invoke Despair here. And let's get rid of the Takenuma, get a redraw into another Fable. Let's copy the Graveyard Glutton. Exiling a land, or just any card at this point. And yeah, no reason to not attack, I don't think. We're mostly going to get rid of all their stuff here. Not really much to get rid of here. We're just going to get rid of all these cards. And we don't get to deal any extra damage. If they have a removal spell, they get to kill one of the Gluttons. They can block, go down to 2, and then we play a Fable. And we actually got pretty lucky, I think, mostly that they just didn't hit their lands here. And we're able to take down the best 2 out of 3 matches. They were a little bit mana screwed, obviously, in that game. They just weren't able to hit their cards on time. We were just able to kind of keep our game plan going and then eventually hit with just some decent-sized threats like the Trespassers. So I think that the best way, at least from these matches that I've seen, is to kind of just play a little bit more of a controlling game. They're still playing a lot of like the tempo side of it and a little bit more of the aggression side of it, but I think that for us, because that's their game plan, we want to be as controlling as we can be, and we have game-ending inevitability. The Invoke Despairs are obviously huge because they can just burn you out, but like you saw in these matches, there's definitely ways to play around it, but definitely make sure that you check out all of the DarkStream's content and my content down below in the description, and I hope that you stay cheesy. Thanks for joining us.